So we want him stay with him, like process like Eric Garcia and Phil. He decide because like Leroy now, like myself, I decide to move now countries to be manager. It's going to happen. So when he decide to move to Dortmund, it's not because he's going to decide come back 1 year later. So it would not be sense of this. He didn't want to be here, so that's why I think he doesn't want to come back here.
Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace this morning. There has been talk, there have been rumours, there has been all sorts of Man City are going to hijack Man United's move for Jadon Sancho. Pep has spoken. He has absolutely dispelled, debunked, destroyed the myth. All of it. He's finished it off. He's killed it. He's ended it. Man City will not be trying to sign Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho has absolutely no desire, no wish, no want to join Man City again. He doesn't. And this isn't salt. This is just most players. It is exceedingly rare in football for players to return during their pomp to a club they've already left. The Paul Pogba deal is an exception to the rule as opposed to the rule itself. It's as simple as that. And listen, Chelsea, if they come in big for Sancho, there's an opportunity. I don't think Sancho would pick them personally, but they could. If Liverpool come in strongly for Sancho, they could pip him in front of Man United because Liverpool, they are where they are. Sancho, but nobody else. Sancho wants to come back to England. He has made that abundantly clear. He is happy with Manchester United's contract, the status, and the direction of which the club is going in. Chelsea have pulled out. Chelsea are making no inroads to sign him because he's picked Man United. The only team left that could end Man United's pursuit of Jadon Sancho is Liverpool. That's if Liverpool show interest. Right now, they're not. That is also the reason why the finalization of this deal was slowed down. Because Man United are trying to drive the price down and Dortmund are trying to keep the price as high as possible. Because nobody else is involved in the race, because there is not a bidding war, it slows the process down. If Liverpool come in next week and offer £100 million, watch the situation get resolved in a matter of days because United either need to step up or shut up. And then the player will have to make a decision. Stop being suckered into these news stories. It's already been confirmed. Like I told you all the other day, the Man United are not willing to spend over £50 million on him. Already been debunked by some very credible journalists. I mean, it took them 12 hours after I spoke about it. And I didn't even need to speak to anybody involved in the deal to know that it was nonsense. You spend £50 million on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Of course, you've got to spend more than 50 mil to sign a Jadon Sancho. Equally, Man United are not going to try and devalue the players they're buying in half. Do you know why? Because it means you then devalue the players you're trying to sell in half, making it almost impossible for you to get rid of them. And we need to sell players to be able to buy players because we have to free up we need to generate income and we need to free up expenditure on those players so that we don't go over our turnover spend, which is typically between 60 and 65% of our turnover. And with revenues decreasing by sort of 15 to 20% because of CV19, it has never been more important. So stop being suckered in with these stupid news stories. Stop listening to YouTubers that pretend they have all this inside information on every single deal that's going on. Do you know what? Of course, some YouTubers are so well connected now that they might have an inkling on a deal or two. Absolutely. But they're not Fabrizio Romano. They're not Damasio. They're not Simon Stone. They're not Ornstein. They're not... what's the dude's name? Who's the dude on Sky and Talk Sport? Scottish fella with a tie. Anyway, they're not them. There's some YouTubers I speak that have been telling me for weeks, I've got inside information. City are coming in for Jadon Sancho. You watch. Nonsense. Absolute cast iron nonsense and absolute ridiculousness. That's all it comes down to. It's just consistent from these people. Listen to the experts on what they've said. The day that Fabrizio Romano comes out and says to us, oh, there's going to be a change now. The day that Fabrizio comes out and says City are now in, Liverpool are now in, then start to worry. Simon Stone says it, maybe start to worry. Ornstein says it, maybe start to worry. There's nothing tangible about any of these. The situation has not changed barely in 3 to 4 months. Sancho wants the Premier League. Sancho's happy with Manchester United. Man United are desperate for him. But the negotiations will take place. Some deals go through quicker. Why is that? One, sometimes a buyout clause, very easy to get done. Other times, there's a bit of a bidding war. And there's multiple teams looking at a particular player. That will hurry things up. Outside of that, deals take a little bit of time. Deals take a little bit of time to get done. It's just the way it is. Some go quickly, some go slowly. People need to relax more. Let's delve into some of your live comments on this now. Daniel says that Pep said he left a year ago. Why would he want to come back? Exactly. And I get that Sane has left the club. So, there's a spot open for him now. Sancho isn't going to take that risk again. Sancho isn't going to take the risk that he isn't going to play. Like with Paul Pogba, when United were looking to re-sign him, if we still had a peak Michael Carrick and a peak Paul Scholes, I don't think he would have re-signed because he may have faced the same problems. Not that he's not as good as Michael Carrick in his own way, but we had holes in our midfield to be filled. At Man City, people keep telling me how good Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez are, and I don't disagree. So it's more of a risk of him going there. Plus, he wasn't given an opportunity by Pep in the past. Does he trust him now? It just, none of it makes any sense. Chelsea have signed Ziyech. Okay, so you're going to go and play in a team with somebody that's posting the same level of outputs as you. You're going to go and take that risk? No, it just isn't going to happen. People have got to start being realistic. Chelsea are not signing Sancho. City are not signing Sancho. The only other team aside from United that can do it is Liverpool. It's as simple and it's as straightforward as that for me. There's no doubt about it. Cypher here says Sancho's only realistic choice is to move to Man United, guaranteeing game time and we're building a team. Absolutely. It's the perfect time for Sancho to join Man United with the way we're playing. And we're amazing right now, and Greenwood's doing a great job. Greenwood will eventually be turned into a central striker and will become competition for Anthony Martial. There's no doubt about it. But the strength in depth that Jadon Sancho signing gives us is unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable when it's needed. Then you throw in a Grealish or a Van der Beek into that mix as well. Van der Beek is, of course, very versatile. Suddenly, our midfield and attacking team is elite. We go from being, you go back to December 2019 where we're like scraping about trying to create. Suddenly, a couple of signings and a few returns from injuries later, and it's like, wow, look at this team now. And with the way we're playing, with the system, and with Ollie Ball in full force, it's amazing. And Sancho's bought into that idea. The situation with Dortmund, I think, will be resolved in the next few weeks. I really do. I think that they'll come to a happy medium at some point. There's a lot of public jostling going on. But the Sane deal will help Man United because it will send a message out to Dortmund that we need to get this done sooner rather than later, because if nothing happens this summer and we try and wait until next year, we'll come a cropper. That bluff is now gone from Dortmund. It's finished. It's over. The dugout here says Sancho is not going to Liverpool or City. I can't see him going to Real Madrid or PSG. He's definitely leaving Dortmund. Listen, absolutely. Dortmund have got an agreement in place with him to allow him to leave this summer. It's there. There is an official agreement between the club and him for him to be able to leave this forthcoming summer. I know this. Everybody knows this. It's fairly well documented in relation to that. It just needs people what it comes down to is people don't want to, they're deluding themselves into thinking Man United can't pull it off. The same as people that think that Arsenal can't sign Thomas Partey. It's absolute madness. The financial riches to be gained joining the Premier League are massive. It's life-changing, even for already rich and wealthy football players. And it's about where else can these players go and who wants you, and would Thomas Partey would prefer to play for Liverpool or Man City? Maybe, but are they coming in for him? By the way, if Thomas Partey is looking to go Arsenal and then City come in for him and want to make him the crowning jewel of their central midfield, Arsenal could be in trouble. Man United has shown loose interest in Thomas Partey, but they haven't made any concrete, substantial offers. What changes the mind of football players and what makes them commit is when somebody shows commitment to them. City and United have shown some outside interest, but they haven't really been very tangible in their approach. Arsenal have been on me from day one. That means they love me. And we all care about that in life. We all care about organizations and people that come to us and try to better us and show genuine care and attention in our abilities and in our life. That goes a hell of a long way. Hell of a long way for the vast majority of players. It truly, truly does. David, one of my members here, says, also, Terry, let's think about how much more appealing Man United look now, especially if we continue to finish the season strong and get Champions League football. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's an incentive for the players as well. Now, I think Ollie has created the culture where competition is good. No one's going to throw their toys out the pram if a top player comes in. You know, I would be selling it to the Man United players if they're able to do this at this point. Listen, we're linked with 2 or 3 stars that will transform us from being a top 4 challenger to title challengers. You know, Champions League participants to Champions League challengers. But we need to, isn't so much qualifying for the Champions League, but we need to show them what we're all about now. We need to show them the culture is better. We need to show them that we're the right place for them to be. Because at the end of the day, if you're Dan James, all right, if you're Mason Greenwood at this point, if you're Scott McTominay, yes, they want to be in the starting lineup. Yes, they want to win. I'm telling you now, Divock Origi and Shaqiri don't want to be leaving Liverpool right now, really. You know, I can get myself 10 starts a season, 30 appearances from the bench in total, but I'm picking up trophies. The Man United had benches full of top quality players for 15, 20 years. Now, none of these players some were a couple of superstars on the bench, Ollie and the like, but they were happy to be at the club because they were getting enough game time and they were winning. You know, if you're an absolute superstar and you should be starting every game, it's a little bit of a different conversation. But I look at the Scotty Macks of this world, who I rate highly. I look at Dan James, who I think is a really talented player. Would they be happy to be on the bench for 70% of the Premier League games, but be title challengers? Or would they rather be playing first team for a club who's coming 5th and 6th and sometimes 4th? I think it's a no-brainer. And then for them, what I then want is go, right, great, we're signing Thomas Partey, we're signing Jadon Sancho. I'm going to work my socks off to try and keep them at the team. That creates the right culture internally. It pushes everybody's levels, and that manifests itself on the football pitch. And it's the way it needs to be. Trust me, every day in training, Divock Origi is doing his best to try and start. He knows it's almost impossible, but he's doing his best. That keeps Mane, that keeps Firmino on their toes. Because if they let their standards drop, there's someone that's going to step straight in. And that's where United went wrong for years. And the fans are part of that. Man United fans for a long, long time. Oh, why is Young starting in front of Di Maria? Well, because Di Maria weren't putting in the same level of performances that Young was. You know, you should be awarding first team places in your team based on meritocracy. And it has to be done that way. You know, if Scotty Mack comes in for a few games now and is world class, I don't want him dropped. He stays. And so maybe you make a few substitute appearances. Oh, he's had a couple of games where he's been a 6 out of 10. And Fred's come in and been amazing. Fred now starts. Now, I know you want to create consistency. You create consistency with, if you look at Man United, our core right now of players I don't think are getting dropped. Wan-Bissaka, David De Gea, Maguire, Pogba, Bruno, Martial, Rashford. That's your core. Outside of that, I think every other position is up for grabs. Mason Green was making a real strong claim to make that right-hand side attack his as well. But he's very young, so he shouldn't be overused. You know, everything else outside of that, I still think there should be competition for. And then eventually you build a team where 8, 9 places are concrete, cemented, almost week in, week out. But that's because of consistency. I'm telling you, if Trent started dropping clangers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games on the bounce, he'd get dropped. And if the guy that comes in to replace him is performing to the highest standard, he remains in the team. It's the way every great team has ever operated. Fans have got to drop this, I support a player over a club notion. Have to. I like this comment. Terry, you're absolutely obsessed with Sancho. Get a grip. It isn't so much about being obsessed with Sancho. It's being obsessed with facts. And I can't impact people that don't watch my channel, people that don't interact with our Football Terrace community. I can't do anything for those people. But it's about relaying the information as I see it and keeping everybody as informed as I can. And I see so many lies about this Sancho deal. And go back to what I was saying back in March. I told it every week there's to be 2 or 3 contradictory stories that will make everybody panic about this deal or get overly excited. And nothing dramatic has changed in that time. Nothing. And it's about remaining on that. If the media wasn't reporting on it, I wouldn't be talking about it. Wouldn't come up. Wouldn't be spoken about. But every day there's a new piece of BS. And the reason I spoke about this situation today is because there's been people on socials for the past couple of weeks saying that City are coming in for him, City are coming in for him, City are coming in for him. They're not. They're not coming in for him because Jadon Sancho has said he doesn't want to go back there. It's just an absolute nonsense that I keep hearing this stuff. And that's a great point being made here. It says, apparently, despite Dortmund saying in the public they want to keep him, they've had enough of him. They have. Sancho's been a bit of a naughty boy in the way he's been behaving to get himself out of the club. You know, breaking. You know, don't get it twisted. You know, him breaking lockdown rules to get a haircut is calculated. It's calculated. It truly is. It's all calculated. You know, the live streams, knowing that fans are going to ask you questions and you sip a bit of water, gets the media going. You know, liking or following certain people gets the media going. All of these things are calculated to help orchestrate what players want. Trust me, it happens too regularly with players looking to leave clubs. Dinesh, one of my members here, says, good morning, Terry. As a Liverpool fan, I do not worry about other teams. Troops had the AFTV saying the invincible team is better than ours because the current Liverpool team, bro, I don't know what you're trying to say there, man. Listen, the invincible team over a 5-year period has achieved more than this current Liverpool team has in terms of multiple trophies, finishes in the leagues. But you can't assess them until this Liverpool team has had that same 5-year stint as an example. You just can't do it, if that makes sense. You just can't do it. This Liverpool team, if they continue in this vein, will outstrip the achievements of that invincible team tenfold. You know, if you Champions League, Premier League, 100 points. If next season you win the Premier League again and maybe another domestic cup, the year after that you might win the Champions League again. It will. You know, this current City team and this current Liverpool team have the ability to match or surpass United's two great teams, which, by the way, are far superior to that of the Invincibles. And it's not just about the thing is, what people do is they're myopic. They look at that one big achievement, Invincible season, and they go, that makes us the best. Well, what did you do in and around that for a 5-year period? How many trophies did you win? How many top 4 finishes? How many cup finals? How many domestic trophies and titles did you win, as an example? How did you do in Europe in those times? You assess a 5-year period, which I think is quite fair. I think at the end, you know, this City team are 3 years in. This City team have won 2 league titles. They might end up pulling off a couple of seasons where they win three titles in one season, 3 cups in one season, as an example. Liverpool have won 2 years running. They've won major trophies. They could do a 3rd year next year. It won't even be a debate in a couple of years if they continue in this vein. It really will not. Remember that Arsenal team won a good couple of trophies, went invincible, won an FA Cup in that period as well, but never retained titles, never won a European Cup. You know, so these two current teams, the City Centurions and this Klopp Liverpool side, will surpass them massively. Terry, why are United dragging their feet? Chelsea don't. Based on what? If Dortmund had if Sancho had a buyout clause, it would be happening quicker. The Ziyech deal wasn't early; it was late. They tried to get that done in January. They're having conversations from November, so it was late happening. The Kai Havertz deal is dragging its feet in the same way that Sancho is, because they're trying to negotiate the price down. The Ben Chilwell deal isn't happening until after this season finishes. So I don't. This Chelsea have signed one player quickly, and that's Werner, but that's the buyout clause. Everything else, there's no proof, there's no evidence at all that they're moving. We're dragging our heels and they're not. There's no need for Man United right now to put in a mammoth bid to get the deal done. They're going to try and drive the price down, and they should be. The only time it will speed up is when another club gets involved. That's it. It's not dragging your heels. It's sensible business. Absolute sensible business. And it isn't to say Chelsea haven't done good business, but Chelsea talking to Leverkusen has been going on for about the same time that United have been talking to Dortmund. Remember, we didn't start talking to Dortmund until the German league began again. So there is no jag in the heels. Absolutely none. But there we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in today, really do appreciate it. I love the support you guys give us here at the Football Terrace. We're back later on today with more stories for you. We'll be covering the City-Liverpool game later on with a watch-along as well, I believe. So we're looking forward to that. But until next time, everyone, take care of yourselves. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.